Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday night, 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 Eastern if you're from that part of the country. And you know what that means. We got a pay-per-view coming up this Saturday, UFC 294 from Abu Dhabi, headlined by the rematch of Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev for the lightweight championship of the world. And it is going to be a great card from top to bottom. 13 fights on this card. We got a lot of different ways that we can make money gambling on this sport. We can go to DraftKings. We can go to Prize Picks. We can go to Underdog. We can go to FanDuel. We could do DFS. We could do props. We could do money lines. We could do just about anything. So here I am with all my stats at the ready to answer any questions that you guys might have about any of the fighters, any of the fights on this UFC 294 card so that we can all find ways to stack cashed tickets like flapjacks and enjoy watching the sport that we enjoy watching even more because we're getting paid now to watch it. So that is the goal of this show. It's the goal of this channel. I've cracked myself a beautiful beverage here. Look at that thick. Look at that. It's like it pours like motor oil. This lovely India Pale Ale that I have in front of me here from the lovely folks at Hop Butcher. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to answer your questions. I am here. Your Uncle Weezy is here at the ready to help you make money on betting on the UFC or doing DFS on the UFC or any of the props that we got on Prize Picks here or Underdog. Let me know. Ask me what you need to ask me. I'm here for you guys. Let's see who's here in the chat with me today. We got my guy Dix Insider in the room saying, Prophet Weezy, did you see the open workouts video of Usman and Gaethje? Everyone is claiming Usman said his knee popped. Is that what you heard? I can't tell, honestly. I saw a tweet, I think my guy Dan from Best Fight Picks put out a tweet where he had retweeted something what Kamaru said, and he said, that's why nobody watches your channel. This is trash. Something to that effect. Let me see if I can find it, and then I'll share my screen with you if I can here. Let's see. And I think it was Kamaru who said it. So I'll see if I can find it here on Twitter. And if I can, I'll share it with you. Yes. All right. Let's share the screen here with you guys. And it's right here. This is Dan from Best Fight Picks retweeting Kamaru Usman 10 hours ago, who said, and it was Kamaru Usman responding to Bloody Elbow, who had posted that video. And what Kamaru said was, this is why no one reads this shitty ass blog. At what point was I lightly drilling? Did you hear me say that to Justin? Stop with the clickbait, you idiots. So Kamaru is saying, and this is the guy that we're speculating about that was injured. Kamaru is saying he didn't get injured. He never said that, and quit trying to use my open workout video as clickbait. So there you go, Dix Insider. That's about the best information that we have thus far on this. So let's go with that for now until we hear something from an official source here. My guy, the Jewish bettor in the room, what's happening, dude? And he's saying he's going to get his jaw popped. Yeah, I think he is, dude. I mean, these are horrible circumstances to try and fight somebody like Khamzat Chimaev under. You know, the crowd is going to be behind Chimaev. You know, he's actually moved to the United Arab Emirates. He's a citizen of that country now. So, yeah, he's the hometown guy. He was training for a fight anyway. Now Usman steps in on less than 2 weeks' notice to take this fight at up a weight class, halfway across the world. And, you know, he's always had bad knees anyway. And it looked like he's unable to wrestle in his last fight against Leon Edwards. The wrestling was no longer there for him. It was no longer an option. And that's not a good sign against somebody like Khamzat, who's going to make you wrestle. So if the knees aren't ready to go, if you're not 100%, if you haven't been training for a fight, he's probably going to get his jaw popped here. And Jewish Better saying this looks like MMA lock of the night is on Usman. Some people never learn their lesson. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to time the downfall of a fighter, but once it starts, it's very rare that you see somebody that was formerly on top in their late 30s go on a 2-fight losing streak, lose the belt, and then come back and string together 4 wins again. You usually don't see that. Like usually a lot of these greats, like Anderson Silva, for instance, like BJ Penn, like we're watching it right now with Tony Ferguson. These guys are going out on 6-7 losses in a row. I mean, one of the greats, Sam Alvey. What did he lose? Like 9 out of his last 10? One of the greats of the sport. He would have killed Anderson Silva if you ever fought him, Sam Alvey. And even he went out on how many losses in a row? How many non-wins in a row? So, yeah, and here we go. Usman, 36 years old. He's been talking about these knee problems for years now. Now he's had broken hands that he's had to have repaired. Yeah, man. I don't know. We'll see if he pulls it off, dude. It's Kamaru Usman at the end of the day. He's one of the best fighters that ever stepped in the cage. So you don't want to doubt him too much here. But I am on Chimaev, Jewish Better, and I picked him to be the ass shaving of the week this week. Best underdog on the card. Let's have a look at best fight odds and just... So I'm not a fan of Volkanovski this week. The circumstances under which he's taking this fight are way less than ideal. So I like Islam at that price. Chimaev, even more money's coming in now. He's up to minus 330. I don't know if I'm necessarily betting him there, but I think he definitely wins this fight. So I don't love Usman at plus 270. Johnny Walker plus 285. I mean, no, I'm not a fan of that. Worley Alves at plus 400. Look, everybody's on Askarov this week. I get it. There's a couple of stylistic things here that I want to just bring to your attention that I think are important, right? So, and this is the wrong fight. This is the one we want to do here. Askarov Alves, right? So Alves here in 14 UFC fights in 142 minutes in the cage. He's only been taken down 4 times in the UFC, showing 80% takedown defense, but he's only been taken down 4 times. And I want to highlight this as well. Worley Alves has fought some of the best grapplers. I mean, like, he fought Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. He fought both of those guys, and he's only been taken down 4 times in 14 fights. Think about that, right? And then ask yourself, if Worley Alves doesn't get taken down by Ikram Aliskerov, what does this fight look like? Are you that confident in Ikram Aliskerov's kickboxing? That's a question I have for you guys. I mean, is anybody out there under the impression that Ikram Aliskerov's kickboxing is better than Worley Alves's? And I would love to know if that's the case, because if it's not the case and you don't think that he's a better kickboxer than Worley, then this line is stupid, because Worley uses that guillotine choke of his as his takedown defense. It pretty much eliminates his opponent's ability to go for single legs. So if that doesn't happen, if he's unable to take him down, I just think that there's a really good chance that Worley Alves could look a lot better than what the money line on this fight suggests. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe Aliskerov is a way better kickboxer than Worley Alves. And maybe he won't get guillotined if he takes down Worley Alves, and he won't have any problem just styling on him on the ground like he did against Mario Sosa, for instance, or Dennis Tialulin on the regional scene in Brave. He could toy with that dude on the ground. But, I mean, I just don't know if we should have this much faith in Ikram Aliskerov right now. So I actually think that I bet on Worley Alves. He's plus 1,400 to win in round 1 on FanDuel right now. I put a quarter unit on it, trying to win 3.5. And we got my guy Daz Files is in the room. What is up, Daz? saying, oi, let's go. Hit the like, leave a comment, all the good stuff. Let's go. Yeah, leave me a comment. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you haven't already. And I love getting those comments down below. Let me know if you have any questions down there, any comments, what your favorite bet of the week is. Let me know. I'm always happy to answer those comments down below. And Lou bet ya in the room, Uncle Lou saying, oi, Weezy, general question about your capping process. What does it take for you to bet someone above minus 400, minus 500 range? I'm referring to Henry Basharat. So what does it take for me to bet someone above minus 400, minus 500 range? Okay. So it takes extreme confidence, not just in fighter A to win the fight, but in fighter B to just not have what it takes to deal with what fighter A is going to bring. Like for instance, like a fight like Jonathan Pierce versus Makwan Amirkhani, right? With a guy like Pierce, you got a guy you know that's never going to get tired, and the output's going to go up, up, up as the fight goes on. And Makwan Amirkhani, for instance, you know, he's got no conditioning at all. He can fight hard for about one round, and after that, he's dead. So you know that if that fight gets out of the first round, that there's literally no chance that Amirkhani is going to find a moment where he's going to be able to beat Jonathan Pierce, because you know, if you're tired and you're going up against Jonathan Pierce, you're just going to get absolutely broken in half. So it has to be not only extreme confidence in the skill set of fighter A to win, but extreme confidence that fighter B has nothing for fighter A in the area where they excel. Anything like minus 400, minus 500, it's gotten to a range where if I can't parlay it with something else that I think is really plus EV, that's maybe closer to the minus 150 to minus 250 range to get it closer to, you know, an even money bet, that would be the only way. Like I think the last time I bet something that chalky, I think I got it was a max bet. It was Aliashkab Kizraev, and I think I got him at minus 330 versus Dennis Tialulin. And I max bet that at minus 330 because I was like, man, this guy Kizraev is so good, and Dennis Tialulin is so bad, and his grappling game was just trash. And I actually saw striking from Kizraev as well. So it just takes extreme confidence. But Lou knows as well as anybody out there that, look, minus 400, that's an 80% implied probability. Minus 500, that's an 83.3% implied probability. Minus 600, 86.6% implied probability. So, you know, the implied probability starts to go up smaller and smaller as those numbers get further and further into the negative, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But you understand what the margin of error there is, because you can never be 100% confident about anything. But if you're betting something that's 86, I mean, you better kind of be not just 90% confident, but like 95% confident, you know? So in order for me to bet somebody at that range, like for instance, Henry Basharat fight that you're referring to, you know, if I'm betting a minus 400, minus 500, I'm asking myself, okay, well, how does Javid Basharat look minus 400? How does he look minus 500? And the answer is, oh, he goes out there and he finishes Victor Henry in the first or second round. He goes through him like a hot knife through butter. He makes Victor look like he doesn't belong there, right? So that's the problem. That's why Victor Henry is such a live bet, in my opinion, is that, first of all, Javid Basharat at minus 625 is just, it's beyond the pale. It's absurd. Go back and watch this guy's fights. He hasn't finished anybody at the UFC level. He's losing rounds to Tony Gravely, to Mateus Mendoza. These are not 30-27 scorecards. They're 29-28 scorecards, you guys. So, yeah, I'm not betting Basharat this week, and that's why I'm picking Victor Henry to win. That's why I've got the bet on the points handicap for Victor Henry. It was plus 195 on Bet Online Sportsbook. I got a full unit on it. I'm looking to win almost 2 on that one. I think Victor Henry throws a ton of volume, and he stays in your face, and he's smart. He's experienced. He's durable. He's going to be there for the full 3 rounds. So I just think that, Hendry's the side here because the line has just gotten too wide. And then when it gets that wide, you can place smaller bets that will win big money, and do it without having to worry so much about losing a full unit. Maybe you're losing a quarter unit, a 30 of a unit, a half a unit, but much easier to recover from during a fight card than it is losing, like laying 1.5 units to win one, and then that goes tits up. Now you got to really dig yourself out of that hole. So yeah, I mean, you have to be so confident at a minus 400, minus 500 line that it leaves so little room for error that it pretty much pushes me away from it unless I just can't see a path for fighter B. And Daz Files, when Jewish Better was asking best underdog on the card, he's saying you'll have to wait for the Bootsy Collins Memorial. Dogs are barking underdog pick of the week. This week, it is the Victor Hendry plus 3.5 points handicap. Daz saying what's up to Lou. We got Professor Chaos saying what's up to Uncle Lou here, he's saying that Uncle Lou is his second favorite uncle. Of course, his first favorite uncle, yours truly, Uncle Weezy. You got it. Lou saying he's the worst uncle. Juicy Q saying, Lou, we had an entire prop show and I did I zone out? No. Chimaev inside the distance props, he's asking Lou. And Lou's saying, no, thanks, man. It all pays for shit. So, yeah, I hear you, man. After that speculation on that video, now everybody's betting Khamzat inside the distance, and it's just kind of getting away. I think at this point, probably parlaying the money line might be the way to go. There's a lot of juicy favorites on this card, so you could probably parlay 2 or 3 money lines that you feel pretty confident about and get pretty close to even money or even plus money on it. So I think that's the way you play Chimaev now. Just parlay the money line. That way you don't have to be mad if he doesn't finish Usman. If Usman was up to the challenge, if Usman was training, if he is in condition, if the knees aren't as bad as everybody thinks, he could absolutely give Chimaev hell for 3 rounds. But I think those are a lot of ifs. And I think what's a lot more likely is that Kamaru's showing up for a check. Uncle Dana called him up and said, you want to fight Khamzat Chimaev on less than 2 weeks' notice in Abu Dhabi? And he's like, fuck no. And he said, well, how about now? After he told him a number that had a lot of zeros in it and then Kamaru said, all right, well, when's my flight? That's kind of like what I think happened here. So, and like I said before on Just a Tip last night, look, if you're serious about coming back and winning your belt, are you taking a Khamzat Chimaev fight in Abu Dhabi on 10 days notice up a weight class at 185? No, you're probably not. You're probably, rehabbing a nagging injury at the moment. I'm just not going to be available in 2 weeks. Sorry, Dana. Give me a call 6 months from now when Khamzat needs his next fight at 170, So, yeah, man. And Juicy Q says he's not doing that. And I tend to agree. I'm not going to be doing that either. We got Yog in the room saying, where do you get all these hippie beers, man? So this is Hop Butcher. That is the brewery that we are looking at right there. Hop Butcher is a Chicago institution. They have a location on Lincoln Avenue, just a little bit south of Montrose, about a block and a half south of Montrose in the old Half Acre Brewery location there. Beautiful beers, beautiful people. That's where I get these beers, my man. Darce Choke is plus 1,600. Meh. For what fight, Juice? Is it going to be, you're probably talking about the Khamzat fight? Fred saying, hey, Lee, or Helly, or hello. You're probably saying hello because the I is right next to the O on the keyboard. Hello, Fred. Good to see you. Lou Bet you saying his round 1 is plus 220, I think. Yeah, that's just, I mean, in retrospect, you could be like, oh, that was the easiest plus 220 in the world if he does just kind of go out there and mow through him like nothing. And then and also in retrospect, it could be like, why did I think Khamzat was going to beat one of the greatest of all time in round 1 like it was nothing, So I don't know, man. I'm going to probably be staying away. Jewish Better saying, Weezy is the cool uncle you smoke weed with. Lou is the rapey uncle. JB in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jingles is asking who wins by submission. Well, let's go through my picks here on UFC 294. I have Chimaev by submission in round one. I have Aliskerov by submission in round two because it is short notice for Warley Alves. So even though I think Warley is very live and I did bet on him to win in round one, I feel like the short notice and up a weight class that his win equity drops off a cliff after round one, because it's on short notice, because it's up a weight class. But I think he's very live in round one. But I think if Aliskerov gets out of round one, Alves won't be nearly as dangerous, and that's when maybe he can get his grappling game going. I've got Muhammad Makhachev winning by submission. I think Dudakova could potentially get a submission over Jinyu Fry. And I don't think Trevor Peek knows what a submission is. So I don't think he's going to get one. Yeah, so I've got three picks for submissions. It's Chimaev, it's Aliskerov, and it's Makhachev. And I could see Nurmagomedov getting that front choke that he loves to get if Gafarov gets a little bit sloppy shooting in on takedowns against him. So, yeah, that's what I've got, my man. We got thoughts on Usman Knee-Gate. Yeah, I already went over it, Boob. I think it's probably nothing. I think his knees are already bad anyway, and I think that Khamzat wins the fight, but I don't think it has anything to do with Kamaru having potentially compromised knee. I think Khamzat's just better than this guy right now. He's younger, he's bigger, he's more prepared, he's been training for a fight. He doesn't have to travel halfway around the world. He's already home. So yeah, I think it's going to be easy for Khamzat. Will anybody win by hammer fist? Well, I mean, it's got to be Trevor Peek, right? The standing hammer fist, just clubbing on top of the head like he was like Dusty Rhodes, the old elbows coming to the top of the head. I think that we could even see Trevor Peek win by Dusty Rhodes-esque elbow to the top of the head. It's a dangerous move. It's a risky move, but if it pays off, you're going to be a legend. So, I mean, I could see Trevor Peek winning by meme fist somehow going somewhere weird and just absolutely exploding the head of Muhammad Yahya in front of a horrified home crowd there. So yeah, Trevor Peek's going to be fun to watch. We got Super Clean saying, "What's up, Weezy? Oi, I need a safety plus 100 or plus 200. A safe parlay at plus 100 or plus 200. Well, what I did early in the week was I parlayed the over 2.5 rounds in the Victor Hendry versus the Javid Basharat fight with the Khamzat Chimaev money line. That got me plus 102, but I think those lines have moved since, so it's probably minus money now. If I were to throw another line in there, perhaps what else could I throw in there for you? Volkanovski. I mean, I do like Islam Makhachev quite a bit, but I don't want to be too confident betting against, maybe the GOAT of the sport, Alexander Volkanovski, even if it is on short notice. Let's see. Khamzat Chimaev money line, over 2.5 rounds in the Javid Basharat versus Victor Hendry fight. And I would say the Islam Makhachev money line. That would be it's just a really safe parlay in my opinion. Or if you don't like the Islam Makhachev money line, if you're worried about betting against Volkanovski, I would say maybe the fight doesn't go to decision for Trevor Peek versus Mohammad Yahya. I think that's a good look as well. Those are two spots. Those are the spots that I would go with. Super clean. Juicy Q in the room saying parlay two of the overs for even more money. Super clean. Yeah, I mean, like you can get some overs, like a fight starts round 2, for a fight that you think is going to go the distance. Like, But I love that over for Basharat Henry. Both of those dudes are very durable. Muin Gafarov's a very durable dude, but I could see him getting caught in a choke. That's why I don't really love the overs there. Yeah, it's a tough week. There's not a lot of guys I really love this week. We got Justin J in the room saying, "Oi, howdy, Uncle Weezy and chat. What is up, Justin J? Let me know if you have any questions today for your Uncle Weezy." And we got Just Win, baby, in the room. Does a great show with Liam Picks Fights. Does another great show with Pepe Sylvia. Really done some really fantastic content. This dude's been tracking bets for years, and he's a very, very long-term winner. Good to have you in here, brother. Saying, popping my Weezy cherry. Usman protests too much, we know. Yeah, dude, I mean, I don't think he's protesting. He's going to be cashing that check. He's showing up. That check is going to cash after the fight, whether he wins or loses, and I think he's going to lose. And yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. That video, I think, is such a red herring right now, man. And it's definitely moving the line. Super clean saying, okay, Juicy Q, what is up, dude? We got Juicy Q saying, I like Kamaev inside the distance at -110. That's a decent line. I like it too, dude. My man DFS by the numbers played that at +100. I think it's a great bet. I think Kamaev's going to shave his ass. I really do think Kamaru shows up for a check here, but everything that Kamaru has done at really a legendary pace here. The guy is such a good wrestler. His wrestling metrics are absolutely off the charts. You guys look at this on the stats here. 59 of 129 on takedowns. He's got 59 takedowns. He's only allowed one. He gets almost 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. He allows 0.05. He outcontrols his opponents 44.8% to 2.6%, winning almost 95% of the control time positions that he's in. He's got 97% takedown defense, almost 46% takedown accuracy. Everything is way above average for the division. But then you look at on the other side, in Kamaev, it's a smaller sample size. It's against much lower level of competition, but his metrics are even more dominant basically everywhere than Usman's, and he's 7 years younger, and he's 2 inches taller, and he's just a lot more of a natural middleweight than Usman is. He's going to be the bigger dude here. So yeah, I think that I think Kamaev inside the distance is a good play. I like parlaying the money line even more though, just because you just never know which Usman shows up, but the one I think is going to show up gets finished. So we'll see how it goes, Juicy Q. Antonio Esparza saying, "Oi, what's up, Bunk? Do you think this fight be at 85 helps or hurts Usman?" Well, if it were at 170, he wouldn't have even been able to make weight because the dude's got to be walking around over 200 pounds. He's a big man. So to cut that kind of weight in 10 days and make the flight, I don't even think it would have been possible. They wouldn't have really even been able to pick up the phone on that short a notice and try to get a guy who probably wasn't even training hard at the time to take that fight. Dude's coming off, hand surgery as well. So yeah, this has got to help him because, it's Kamaev fights at 170 as well most of the time. So, it's not like he's this gigantic middleweight that's, going to be like a massive sizable here. He's definitely going to be bigger, but, both of these guys prefer to fight at 170. So I think it definitely helps Usman that he doesn't have to cut to 170 here. Sam Alfie. Yeah, dude, he's a legend, man. And I mean, even he went out losing 9 of his last 10 fights. So absolutely, man. There's no doubt about it. We got Mushroom MMA in the room saying, "What's up, on? Good to see you in here, Mushroom. Always supporting the channel. I appreciate you, my man." We've got Lou saying, "Weezy, what's your yam bag shot this week?" I think you had Couch Warrior on your show, and I thought that he talked about Makhachev versus Elliott. We just saw Elliott cheating quite a bit in the was it the Ulan-Bekov fight? So yeah, we could see that happening. I could see Yaya Peak being a sloppy fight where like there's some cage grabs and some eye pokes, and the same thing with Cedric Dumas versus Abu Azatar. I think even just having that many face tattoos in the first place for Cedric Dumas is like cheating, and maybe he could be deducted a point for that. And Abu, he might cheat. Both these guys might cheat. So I think, Abu versus Cedriques would be a great one. I think Yaya versus Peak would be a great one. And so would Elliott versus Makhachev. As we know, Elliott, he's that veteran, that like a cowboy Bob Orton type who really works the referee, always letting him know, this guy's cheating when it's really he's the one that's cheating. So yeah, man, I think those are 3 great spots for Yambags this week. We got Steve Lee in the room saying if Cody Brundage never pulled guard, would he win that fight against SD? Abu for the win. That's an interesting question, right? Because he pulled guard 3 times, I think, in that fight. And the one thing that I noticed about Cedriques in his last fight before he got the Dana White's Contender Series fight was he does have decent top control when he gets his opponents back to the mat. He's kind of like position over submission, and he stays pretty heavy on top and tries to advance position and land some ground and pound, but he is pretty efficient at just burning minutes with his opponent's back on the mat, and he did a great job of it with Brundage. But like a lot of wrestlers, like Cody Brundage is a wrestler, like most wrestlers, they're trash off their back. Once you get them there, that's where you want them, because wrestlers never train that position. If you get put flat on your back, the match is over. You got pinned. So these guys are never good off their back, but in this case, it's a little bit different of a fight. Abu is somebody who you can put his back flat to the mat, but he's just going to explode, and he'll get you off of him the first few times. But when he got gassed against Barrio, those explosions weren't as explosive anymore, and Barrio just wore on him in that 3rd round and just pounded his head through the canvas. That was a little bit hard to watch. Yeah, so I mean, I think that this is going to be a kickboxing match. I don't think Cedriques is an offensive wrestler, and we know Abu, that's not really his game. So I think these guys are going to stand at range. They're going to kickbox until one man falls, but Abu's a pretty durable dude, and I've never seen Cedriques Dumas knocked out before. I mean, he kind of gave up against Fremd, but I don't know what happened there. I kind of tend to throw that fight out just a little bit because I don't know what happened there with Cedriques. And I think I even heard somebody say that Cedriques said that he threw that fight. And he was a big favorite. So, you never know, dude. You never know. We'll see. But I have no money on that fight, man. I don't have any faith in Dumas. I don't have any faith in Azaitar. Those are guys that I would feel real sketchy having my money backing either one of those guys. So I'm just going to enjoy that fight. It should be fun. It'll be a meme result. And I think people are going to cheat, and there may be a point deducted. More confident that Alves gasses after 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's a short notice fight up a weight class for him in Abu Dhabi, about 2 weeks notice. So yeah, I think that Alves can absolutely gas after 5 minutes. That's why I bet him to win in round 1 when he would be fresh. And when I think he's at his most explosive, plus 1,400, I'll take that for a round 1 finish for a quarter unit. And then if it goes past the first, then I think that Alves is going to be in a lot of trouble. Randy Fowler saying, does anyone know how strikes and significant strikes are differentiated? Is it just a dude sitting ringside counting in his head? No, it's definitely not just some guy ringside counting in his head. So anything that lands at distance striking range is considered a significant strike. And then it's to the discretion of the statistician at the event how the ground and clinch strikes are classified, whether they're classified as a total strike or a significant strike. So that's those are the ones. The clinch and the ground strikes are to the discretion of the statistician. Everything that's landed at distance striking range is considered significant. We got my guy Dev in the room. What is happening? Let me know if you have any questions, brother. We've got Fight Talk Only saying, oi, what's up, T.O. Weezy? Dude, good to see you in here, man. Everything is good. It is Wednesday night. I've got my drink here. It's a great pay-per-view card. I got a lot of bets on this card, a little bit more than I usually have at this point in the week. And I'm very, very close to finishing my product that will be a nice little tool for significant strike props on Prize Picks and Underdog and Bet Online. So I'm really excited to put all this data that I have to work here, man. So working hard and here to answer any questions that you guys have. We got Just Win Baby said, saying, I'll bet a 500 if the other guy has a severe disability, like one leg. Yeah, that's, and it could be something like, for instance, Darren Elkins last week was like, I got him at plus 180. He could be had at plus 150. And, TJ Brown's got severe mental retardation. So you can actually bet that because you know that the opponent's going to show horrible fight IQ in there, leave tons of openings. And if somebody has a severe disability, and it doesn't just have to be physical, it could be mental as well, man. And either way, that's when it's a little bit safer to lay some juice. Lou bet you loves it. We got Lou saying one leg isn't as good on an MMA base as divorce is. Yeah, that's for sure, man. One leg for soccer is horrible. For MMA, it's horrible as well, man. We got Terry Mizzo in the room saying, hey, Uncle Weezy, hope you're having a good night. I laid the chalk on Chimaev. Yeah, I think you're going to be happy with that. Yeah, this is just a very, very tall order for Kamaru Usman. But if he pulls this one off, man, I mean, his name goes right back into the hopper for the GOAT conversation at the weight class. So we'll see, man. This would be a G move if he could beat Khamzat Chimaev on less than 2 weeks' notice. We got Lou saying, Tululin, yes, sir. We got James saying, minus 500, you got to put down some serious coin to make any kind of money. That's for sure, man. Yeah, and Bo Nickel at minus 29,102 is value. It is against pretty much anybody. Hyena 95, Chikadze versus Emmett, early prediction. Love Chikadze there. Chikadze is just going to pick him apart from range. Emmett's past it. Emmett's very, very old at this point. Of course, he has that power. Anything can happen, but Emmett doesn't wrestle anymore. I don't even know if he ever did in the first place. He's listed as a wrestler, but he just doesn't wrestle. So, yeah, if he just has to stay at range with Chikadze, I think he's going to have a lot of problems because Emmett is not getting better at this point in his career. So Giga will be the younger guy, the taller guy, the longer guy, the more technical guy at range. And we expect this fight to take place at range. And I always prefer kickboxer over boxer. We just saw it with Jonathan Martinez versus Adrian Yanez. When you bring more weapons, especially with your legs, and you can maintain distance with your kicks like Martinez can, kickboxer versus boxer is something where I'm always leaning to that kickboxer. So like Chikadze quite a bit there. We got two tutorials with Tito in the room. Sounded like Usman said his knee popped in the open workouts. Yeah, like I say, there's a lot of speculation there, but the best way to handicap fights is to use the best information that you have available to you. And the best information that you have available to you are the betting markets, because that's what's giving you the roadmap to how the public feels about all the fights, and also what you've seen in the cage from them at the highest levels. That gives you the truest representation of a fighter. All the speculation and narrative shit that goes around outside the scenes that can't be verified, that's noise, and you try to keep that out of your capping. And if you're capping a fight and it's just noise on both sides, that's just telling you it's 1-800-GAMBLER. Walk away. The bookies have to make a line on it. You don't have to bet it. So that's the way I feel about that one. I don't think Usman popped his knee on that, but I don't know. He might have built himself in an excuse if this thing goes tits up on Saturday. So we'll see. Mr. Jingles saying Chimaev bet both KO and sub. You get plus money, while the inside the distance is minus 20. Yeah, you would probably have to spread it across different sites in order to get maybe a better spread so that you get an inside the distance. You can arb the amount on A and B to make sure that you get plus money, but it's not easy. You can't do that on one site and think that you're going to get. They're not going to. Their risk management department's going to let you get away with betting sub and KO. You might get them both at plus money, but you got to remember only one of them can cash. So you're probably still getting minus money if you're doing it on the same book. If you're spreading it across books, you might get a better number, or you might get a plus money number. We got Power Structure in the room saying my read on anything Usman video related. He doesn't seem thrilled about fighting. I'll tell you what he seems thrilled about is cashing the check that they're going to be giving him for showing up for this ass whooping. And I think he's going to be very enthusiastic when they hand that check to him, because it's probably going to be bigger than any check that I've ever received in my life or will ever receive in my life before I die. So I think Kamaru, there might be a couple teeth missing, but he'll be smiling when they hand him that check, my man. We got Juicy laughing. We got Terry Mizzo saying Lou bet you, more like Lou grope you. Look, I'm a friend of Lou, all right? It's funny to call him a rapey uncle and call him Lou grope you, but like, I want to be clear about something. You know, this man is above board. He's not out there, you know, pulling like a Rob Lowe on these women. You know, Lou is a respectable human being, a respectable gentleman. So we can joke, you know, Lou grope ya, Lou the rapey uncle, you know, but he's not really that. We're just joking here, all right? So, but I appreciate you, Terry Mizzo. Lou grope ya might be like an alias I use on sign-in sheets, you know, in office buildings. I love giving fake names on those things. It's truly hilarious. Congrats. What? Who better hide your kids? Dear God, man, what are you doing to my guy Lou? I picked Yaya as a dog's his power structure. Yeah, I actually have a small bet on Yahya to win by decision, because I don't think anybody is finishing Trevor Peak without like a hammer or a gun or a knife or some kind of a foreign object that they pull out of the trunks. So I feel like if it does go the full 3 rounds, maybe it means Yahya got some takedowns, got a ton of top control time, and just kind of worked the clock so that he didn't have to be at distance striking range with a maniac like Trevor Peak. But yeah, I think there's definitely a path for him to win the minutes, because, you know, Peak's not a well-rounded technical fighter. He's not somebody who's going out there trying to win minutes, you know. He's out there trying to absolutely kill you. And if he doesn't kill you, he'll probably kill himself and lose most of the minutes in the fight trying to kill you. So I did take a shot on Yaya by decision at plus 550 for a quarter unit. We got Fender Jazz in the room saying, evening Weezy. What's up, dude? Let me know if you have any questions for UFC 294. My guy Swinger in the room saying, let's stack them like flapjacks. Let's go, Swinger. My man is hanging out in Pittsburgh. I think it's Pittsburgh this week. He's Wounded Warrior Project guy. Definitely out there working hard this week. Good to see you, Swinger. I'm almost done with my content for the week, so I'm enjoying a late night beverage. We got Cheeky Elbow saying, Usman been finished once in 10 years, and it's only 3 rounds. Yes, and that was like, I think the it was the head kick by Edwards, and then he was finished on the regional scene way back in the day. But Hamzat Chimaev is a finisher, Cheeky Elbow. That's the bottom line here, you know. So it's the irresistible force meeting the immovable object here. Something's gonna give, and we're gonna find out what it is, whether it's Usman's durability or whether it's Chimaev's ability to be able to finish fights. So we're gonna see, man. But that is it's a good point. And you know, but like I said, these are not the circumstances under which Kamaru Usman has been fighting for the last 10 years. I mean, he's been a champion for several years, so he's been taking fights with full fight camps, healthy, at home, you know, not in Abu Dhabi at 185 pounds. So I think there's a lot of external factors that make this skewing towards the Chimaev side. Swinger here with an excellent question. Top 3 most handsome female fighters. All right. So, I mean, you got to put Virna Jandiroba in there. There's no question Virna Jandiroba belongs top 3 on that list. And I think you have to put Jessica Andrade. She's extremely handsome. Like chiseled features. She's like the female Drew Dober. I mean, if you look at that face, it's like what you would call handsome. It is very handsome. And then, oh man, like who else would be in that top 3? There are some good choices, you know. Sarah Froda is not with the organization anymore, but she's a very handsome woman. Na Liang, very, very handsome woman, not a great fighter. but very handsome woman. But I think that the number 3 on the list would have to be Yan Kihi. So let's try Yan Quihi. Yes, there it is. Images. So yeah, Yan Kihi, handsome, uh, what would you say? Classically handsome. Yeah. So Yan Kihi, number 3, number 2, my girl Jandiroba. I mean, if that's not handsome, what is, ladies and gentlemen? And then obviously Jessica Andrade. I mean, you're welcome. So excellent question by my guy Swinger. This is what I'm here for, ladies and gentlemen. I can help in so many different ways. And yes, Jessica Andrade, Virna Jandiroba, Yan Kihi, my 3 favorite handsome female fighters, ladies and gentlemen. We got Jorge in the room. What is up, Jorge? Saying, "Oi, what's up, Uncle Weezy? I played Alexander the Great first round money line at plus 275. It's the first time I've seen it on DraftKings. Alexander the Great first round money line plus 275. So you're going to get that refunded to you should the fight go out of the first round. So it's only if the fight ends in the first round. If Makhachev gets a first round finish, you lose the bet, and if Volkanovski gets a first round finish, you get plus 275. Yeah, they're offering those lines, man, and it's weird how far into the weeds they're starting to make markets on some of these stylized bets, and this is one of them that I'm seeing on DraftKings. So yeah, this is not a bad shot. I mean, that the only time that Islam's been finished, it was in round 1 by what's his name, Adriano Martins. So yeah, that's an interesting look. I hope it cashes for you. We got Power Structure saying Chimaev is hungry as fuck. Yeah, dude, he hasn't fought in a minute. So he was very, very active for a long time, but then he got the COVID, and then it was just nobody really wanted to fight this guy too. So he was going from fighting twice in 2 weeks to we didn't see him once for like 3 years. Like he's fought like once in the last 3 years or something. So yeah, he's definitely hungry. He wants to get back in there. Meatball saying, "What's up, Weezy? Been super busy, but nice to finally catch a stream again. Good to have you in here, Meatball. Thank you for hanging out. Let me know if you have any questions." Cheeky Elbow likes the over in the I'm guessing the Chimaev Usman fight. And yeah, if you think that Usman's going to be 100% for that fight, there's nothing wrong with taking that look. If you take that over, you're going to get some fat plus money on it. So I get it. Power Structure saying Chimaev hasn't been paid properly yet. Dude's hungry. You know, that's very true. The guy hasn't made a ton of money yet, so it's going to be interesting to see. You know, with they're talking about whoever wins this fight gets the next title shot. So this could be Chimaev's shot. He gets this win over a short notice Usman up a weight class of 185. He's got Strickland next, and I don't think Strickland can wrestle right now. The fact that he didn't offensively wrestle against Adesanya at all or Pereira at all leads me to believe that motorcycle crash that he was in has put him in a place where he's just unable to wrestle. Or either that or he's got very poor fight IQ. But either way, I think that, you know, if Chimaev fights Strickland, he's going to probably go through him like a hot knife through butter and expose what we haven't seen from Strickland in so long, which is his grappling game. We've got Jewish Better in the room saying something tells me Hamzat's winning a decision because everyone is on the inside the distance. And yeah, and like that's sometimes what I feel like when that video, you know, gets posted and people are like, did he say it? Something popped. What else, you know, what else could he have said? And you get people talking about that rather than what the stylistic components of the fight are. And the reality is, you know, you can make arguments for either, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, Hamzat is a savage finisher. So anybody who's betting on the under is saying that, like, look, this guy's got power on the feet. He's got nasty ground and pound. The one time we saw Kamaru Usman off his back, he didn't look good in that second Leon Edwards fight. So yeah, I mean, like you got reasons for the under, and then if you're on that over, you're saying, well, I mean, it's not like Kamaru's not a durable dude, and like not like he can't wrestle or he can't go toe to toe with a guy like Himaev. I mean, the guy's one of the best welterweights of all time. So there's good arguments on both sides of it, JB, for sure. Oi, yes, says my guy EQ. What's happening, dude? We got Terry Mizzo saying Yambag. LOL. I haven't heard that term since Dice Clay. Dice Clay. Wow, that's an old one right there. We got Axel Santiago in the room saying, Oi, did you see Johnny Walker finish only plus 300 on DraftKings and plus 400 KO only? That's very interesting. The problem with that, Axel, is that we know that Johnny Walker doesn't have much of a chin. So it's very risky because even though Magomed Ankalaev is a very low volume striker, he's very patient. He's an unrelenting counter striker who won't just go out there blasting, like he won't go out there just swinging from the hip. He's looking to be smooth. He's looking to counter. So while I get why you're seeing that, like, oh, wow, Walker's definitely the more explosive guy, the much better athlete. He's got way more weapons. It's just that I think that if Magomed lands clean once, it might be over because Johnny Walker is not known for being a durable guy. So, but I don't mind it, dude. I don't mind it. I mean, obviously, Walker is the more dangerous guy. It's just that I worry about his durability. But those are big, fat plus money numbers. So nothing wrong with sprinkling something that low of an implied probability for a big potential win. Dude, I would hope so, man. Where's Kim Winslow? Does anybody know this? I mean, like, for instance, we were talking about it on the DraftKings show earlier today on Pub Sports Radio that we haven't seen Vyacheslav Kisiev since the Benoit Saint Denis Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos fight. And, maybe he might be coming back at some point, but we know why we haven't seen Vyacheslav Kisiev. Where the hell is Kim Winslow? Why haven't we seen Kim Winslow in the cage? She's a fantastic referee, completely above board. She's never ruined anyone's life or fucked up in the cage. So why not Kim Winslow at 294? So, I mean, I'm hoping, Terry, that there's a sighting. One of my favorite pictures is the Kim Winslow picture with the heart on around the face. So why have there been no Kim Winslow sightings, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, if anybody can give me a good answer for this, I'm all ears. But, frankly, this is one of the biggest mysteries since what happened to that girl in Portugal on vacation in Europe like 15 years ago. Where's she? Where's Kim Winslow? What happened to the Incas? These are some things that, like, we've got to get some fucking answers, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the one that we need first. I want to know where the hell Kim Winslow is. Get back at me. All right, let's keep that picture up now here for a while. Super clean in the room. Hit the like button, like Patreon. Join Patreon Jubilee. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, the Patreon is there. $5 a month for the basic stats package. $10 a month for the advanced stats that you see right here, which is not only all the stats for the fighters, but how they compare to the divisional averages, which I have for every division here. And then we've got for $20 a month, you can get the prop template where we have all the lines for all the available over-under bets. Fight doesn't go to decision, under 2.5, under 1.5. Fight doesn't start round 3. Fight doesn't start round 2. The opposite bets for the overs. We convert the betting lines into implied probabilities. We give you the benchmark for every division and every bet. And then we give you the fighter's performance in relation to those benchmarks so that you can know whether you're overpaying or underpaying for lines. And it's a great way, if you're a value hunter, to hunt for cheap lines on over-unders. And the hope is next to give this product out, which is going to be something which I'm calling my prize picks template. But we're going to be talking about all the available statistics that are going to be associated with significant strike props, takedown props, and fantasy score props. And what's the coolest thing about this new template that I'm doing is going to be the divisional expected value, because for every division now, we can determine for any prop, whether it's an over or under for significant strikes, right? An over or under for takedowns, an over or under for fantasy score. And I'll do it for significant strikes, for instance, here. So if we're looking at Prize Picks and we see the significant strike props, and we're looking at, say, Javid Basharat, 75.5 significant strikes. So I can go into my database, right? And it is going to be my Prize Picks analytics base, right? And we are looking for, what was it, 71.5 significant strikes for Basharat? 75.5. So I can go to the men's welterweight, the men's bantamweight division here, right? And sorry, my camera unplugged. I'll plug it back in a second for you guys. And then I'm going to go to significant strikes here for 3-round fights. And I've got this little handy thing here. I type in the amount of significant strikes here, which is 75.5. And I can determine that the winning fighter 89 times out of 525 fights has scored more than 75.5 significant strikes in a fight. The losing fighter has done it 29 times out of 525. That's 5.52%. So I know that 118 out of 1,050 fighters in the bantamweight division since the year 2013 have gotten more than 75.5 significant strikes. So that's going to be something that we're going to be putting into this thing that's going to compute all of these analytics for us. So I know now, that like 16.95% of winners get more than that number. I know that 5.52% of the losers have gotten more than that number. So it just tells you right away what you're up against in terms of how many guys have ever really gotten more than these numbers before. It's something that a lot of people don't know, and nobody has access to that information. So I want to be the one that gives you access to it, because it's very valuable information. So now, just by looking here, and you'll also see how many times the fighter A that you're betting on, Javid Basharat, has scored more than 75.5 significant strikes in their UFC fights, how many times their opponent has absorbed more than that many. And then, you're going to compare that against all the benchmarks, and we're going to have all the information in one place for significant strikes, for takedowns, and for fantasy score, in addition to having it for the prop template here, which you're already seeing, which are the over-under bets. So, yeah, the Patreon has got some really cool stuff, you guys, and that new significant strikes, takedown, and fantasy score product, I'm hoping to have that ready for the UFC 295 card in December. Moneyline says super clean, and we got super clean saying, Uncle Weez, appreciate your hard work. Oi, what is happening, man? Thank you for hanging out, dude. What's up, Weezy? Any Prize Picks plays this week? I don't have anything official, Christian Jenkins. I know you always ask me that, though, and I do have some leans that I like this week. I think fight time minutes, I like the over 5 minutes for Ikram Aliskerov this week. I kind of like the over 6.5 minutes for the Sharaputin Magomedov fight. I kind of like the over 12.5 minutes for the Said Nurmagomedov fight. And I actually kind of like under 118.5 fantasy score for Ikram Aliskerov. So I can show you this tiers, 118.5. So I can do that now. 118.5. So I'm going to go to the middleweight division. And now I can go Prize Picks fantasy score, 3 rounds, 118.5. Only 31% of winners have scored more than 118.5 fantasy points in Prize Picks. 0% of the losers. So only 15% of fighters. So what we can do then is see that, yeah, it's about about 15 out of 100 fighters get over that mark in a fight. So if Alaskarov isn't getting a first round finish, he's probably not covering that nut. And I tend to think that fight is going to go over 5 minutes. I'm really considering an over or a fight starts round 2 bet at -110 on DraftKings for that fight. So yeah, I like the under fantasy score for Ikram Alaskarov. I like the over in the Said Nurmagomedov fight time. I like the over in the Alaskarov fight time. And I think Trevor Peak, if he wins, is going to score way more than 88, 85 and a half fantasy score. The thing that I worry about is the trip to Abu Dhabi for him. It's going to be unfamiliar surroundings, unfamiliar situation. So I could see him not getting that number. But I do like Makhachev at 90 and a half. I could see him locking up a submission in this spot for sure. Tim Elliott's been submitted a ton in his pro career, and Muhammad Makhachev is a very opportunistic submission grappler. So I like let's call it the over 90 and a half fantasy score here for Muhammad Makhachev. I want to do fight starts round 2 for Ikram Alaskarov. So we're going to do the more than 5 minutes of fight time. And that's a good 2-legger. You could do 20 to win 60, 100 to win 300, 10 to win 30. That would be my play for the week, Christian. We got Bilal Matmi. Damn, Matmi. I butchered your name, and I'm sorry. Saying Chew Papi Weezy. What is happening, Bilal? Good to see you in here. We got Cuddles Knickerbocker in the room saying Victor Henry is a big underdog. Had to give it a shot. He's my Dogs Are Barking pick of the week this week. I got the 3.5 points handicap at plus 195 on Bet Online. Like Victor Henry's shots chances this week, and I like Warley Alves to win in round 1 at plus 1,400. Fight Talk only saying, hey, Unc, you ever notice the top right corner zoom in on your Twitter header? My Twitter header. Did you put stack cash tickets like flapjacks in there, or did you put Rest Easy Bootsy? I remember profile. Patreon.com/UncleWeezy and Rest Easy Bootsy. Yes, I did notice that. Yes. Yeah, and Rest Easy Pogo. And Rest Easy to Jenna Marie's dog, the Great Dane, Diamond. We've had a lot of people lose their dogs this year. Blondie from Dan from Best Fight Picks, rest in peace. So, yeah, we've all lost some dogs this year, unfortunately. Dogs are awesome. And God, yeah, Rest Easy Bootsy, man. I miss my Rottweiler, man. He was the best. Usman Anjum saying Myra Bueno Silva. Are you talking about handsome fighters? She's not as handsome as Jessica Andrade, I would say, but who is, right? Who is? Fender Jazz saying Yaya holds his hand out and low. He got dropped and controlled a lot in his last win for, via a low-level fighter. I think peak KO. Yeah, man. I got the peak inside, or I got the peak finish only prop here at -150 for 1.5 units. Looks like Rocky Balboa. Janda Balboa. I love it. That shit is hilarious. Oh, now we lost connection to the camera again. Sorry, guys. If I even just touch my mouse the wrong way, sometimes that happens. I know. Jandaroba is literally Rob Schneider. So many people have said that, man, for sure. Schneider, yes, I know, man, that's wild. And then ring-a-ding-ding. My guy, the Jewish Better, with the $1 donation. I appreciate you, brother, keeping the lights on here in your Uncle Weezy's office, doing the job. Appreciate you, Jewish Better. Always good to see you in here, my man. Let me see if I can get my camera going here again. And let's start it up. There we go. All right, I'm back. Appreciate you. $1 from a Jew I just got, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see it every day, but it happened right here today on Ask Weezy. You can all bookmark this in your YouTube favorites today because we just got $1 from my man, the Jewish Better. Let's go, baby. Tutorials with Tito in the room saying, calling it now. Volk will have a hollow 3 type performance against Islam. Bloke is the king of adjustments. yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how he handles this. If he pulls this off, I mean, the legend is going to be just grown to the point where it can't be held, like controlled anymore. If he pulls this off on less than 2 weeks' notice against Islam Makhachev, it would be uh, king shit, without a doubt. And ring a ding ding. My guy, Professor Chaos, saying, I raise you to $2 at the Jewish Better. Dude, your guys are literally kicking each other's ass, crawling each other over each other to outbid each other. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the donation. It's always appreciated here. We got Yippee Kaye saying, hey, Weezy, do you have any hot takes on a snooze fest fight where fans are sleeping and it goes over 2.5 rounds? I bet the 2.5 rounds in the Javid Basharat versus Victor Henry fight. I think both of those dudes are very durable. Said Nurmagomedov and Muin Gafarov are both very durable, but they're both very dangerous at the same time. So while I think that does go over, I don't have the sack to bet it. And what I think could be a real sneaky over this week is Sharaputin Magomedov versus Bruno Silva. They're both very powerful kickboxers. They're both knockout artists. But Shara is kind of low volume. And I could see that one maybe cruising over. You'll get a big plus money number on it, so you wouldn't have to put much money on it. But yeah, that's kind of like my cheeky overplay of the week would be the Gaffer, or I'm not the Gafferov, the curtain jerker, the Sharaputin Magomedov versus Bruno Silva. Rouse is in the room saying, oi, Unc, what do you think has a better chance of hitting the over? 30.5 significant strikes for Peak or 1.5 takedowns for Jubilee. So Breeden's got okay takedown defense, but he's got a better get-up game. So I do like Jubilee. I think that we're going to see Jubilee have to wrestle here. So I like the over 1.5 takedowns for Anshul Jubilee this week. I think that's a very sharp play because Breeden is just not nearly as good of a grappler as he is a striker. He's really at his most dangerous when he's walking forward, pressuring, getting in that pocket, and throwing in combination. But he's a lot less dangerous when you're taking him down over and over again, kind of like what Natan Levy did to him. So I like the over 1.5 significant takedowns for Jubilee, and 30.5 significant strikes for Peak, I think, is pretty doable. He's not like this sniper. He's a damage accumulating type of striker. So I like both of those. Over 30.5 for Peak, significant strikes, and over 1.5 takedowns for Jubilee. And my guy Daz Files 1-upping Professor Chaos, 2-upping the Jewish Better with $3 for his Uncle Weezy, saying winning takes care of everything. Tiger Woods, I'll drink to that, my man. I appreciate the donation, Daz. You're one of the real ones, been here since day one. Thank you so much for the donation. We got Brady Stevens in the room saying Abu Azatar underdog cash in coming. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. This is going to be difficult. You can't remember or can't forget that we haven't seen Cedriques Dumas outside of the United States yet. Long flight, unfamiliar surroundings, hostile crowd. Dude, they're going to be going nuts for Abu Azaitar in Abu Dhabi, ladies and gentlemen. They love this guy there. So, yeah, man, this could be a place, and we've seen it so many times. American fighters show up to Abu Dhabi and they just look flat. They're fighting at in the middle of the night over there. It's a very, very strange situation. So, I could see it happening, Brady. I could see it happening. Cedriques Dumas has pulled stunts before, not just in the cage, but also outside of it. So you never know. We got Jay Boog saying, I think Jubilee. I don't see Peak landing that much significant without knocking Yaya out. Yeah, you might be right about that. You might be right. We'll see, though, because Yaya has been finishing all 3 of his losses. So this absolutely could be some Peak landing 15 strikes and then the fight's over. So, that's what's hard about the fights that are predicted to end early. There's a lot more variance in those significant strike totals. DGen for Life is in the room, who I owe an apology to. He made a joke in the comment section when I had called Hu Yazong a bum. and he said, "Hey, Hu Yazong's got Chinese Greco-Roman credentials," and he was just repeating a joke that I had made months earlier on Stat Diggers, and I actually said on Stat Diggers, somebody actually said that Hu Yazong has grappling credentials. They're so stupid. So I owe you an apology, D-Gen for life. You were hilarious, and the joke went over my head, and I totally didn't get it. Trevor Beek, best standing hammer fist in the game without question. I mean, he's the only one who throws it, and I want to see the Dusty Rhodes downward elbow out of Trevor Peak. How badass would that be, especially if he got a KO with it? That would put the standing hammer fist in the back seat, and the Dusty Rhodes downward elbow would now become the new meme strike in the UFC, and I'm here for it if it happens. We got Caddy Daddy in the room saying Saeed plus over 1.5 rounds in the same fight, plus 110. What do you think, Weezy? I was actually looking at Saeed by decision at plus 200 earlier in the week because Gafurov has never been finished, and he's been in there with finishers like John Lineker. So the only thing I worry about is that Saeed does have several first-round finishes, and his front choke is nasty. And I think that Gafurov will be wrestling Saeed in order to close the distance. So I could potentially see Gafurov getting submitted. It scares me. It scares me because both guys are very durable, but they're both so dangerous. And Muin, I think, has finished all but one of his professional wins inside the distance. And there's something like, how many? Gafurov is a finisher. So yeah, he's 18-5, and 17 of his 18 wins are finishes, you guys. So I think it actually hits. I think Saeed wins this fight. I think he wins it by decision. That's my official prediction. But God, is it going to be greasy, Caddy Daddy? So I don't know. I think I'd rather go with the plus 200 for by decision. Get a fatter plus money number, and then I would be able to gamble less to win more. That's how I would probably play it, dude. But I'd be just so scared. Fight Talk Only saying much love, Uncle. I'm glad you noticed that in the graphic. I camouflaged it, dude. I totally noticed it, and I appreciate you for it, man. That was really cool. Us dog owners, we definitely get it, man. Let me get my correct camera up here again. Sorry, guys. Every time I touch the mouse too hard, the camera just shuts off. Appreciate you, Fight Talk Only. And my man is the one who created these banners for me, not just here, but on my Patreon and on my YouTube as well, because I'm so technologically challenged that I never could have put together anything like this on my own. So I appreciate my guy, Fight Talk Only, for taking care of that for me. We got Eric Wu in the room saying, I think Hamzat wins inside the distance. He needs one takedown. And I think Usman has no BJJ like Burns. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have BJJ like Burns does. So, yeah, man, that's definitely something that I think matters here, is that Hamzat didn't wrestle as much against Burns as I think he will against Usman. But still, at the end of the day, he's going to have to protect his gas tank, because it's very hard to wrestle for 3 rounds, especially against somebody that's as good at stopping takedowns as our guy Kamaru Usman is. 97% career takedown defense in the UFC. Do I have a preferred go-to fight day alcoholic drink? Jay Boog asks. Yeah, it's beer, man. It's beer. Every once in a while, I'll go with some Palomas, some fresh grapefruit soda, and tequila. But really, it's just a nice India Pale Ale. I like them thick. I like them boozy, and I like them full of hops. And that makes me very happy on fight day. My guy Vic, the hardest working man in Michigan, saying, "Oi, yes, what's up, Weezy in chat? Sorry I'm late. Busy at work, dude." He's always busy at work, but he always finds the time to stop in, leave a comment down below, and say what's up to his Uncle Weezy. Truly appreciate you, Vic. Good to see you in here, brother. Usman Anjum saying Dumas also has 0 takedown defense. Yeah, that's going to be interesting, but I don't think Abu's going to try to take him down. He's really more of a kickboxer. Daz Files saying, add Victor de Jesus, Bet Online. this WE bro. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got DGen for life saying LOL. Oh, good on, dude. I'm sorry, man. Brady Stevens saying, what do you think of the over 1.5 in the Walker Ankalaev fight? So I actually bet the under 1.5 in the Walker Ankalaev fight, Brady. And here's why. Here's why I bet it. It's really just a numbers play. If you look at it at plus 130, right, that's a 43.5% implied probability. About 45.25% of 205-pound fights do finish under 1.5 rounds. So this number is a little bit underpriced according to the long-term divisional benchmark, which is nice. Also, Magomed Ankalaev's fights have finished, the ones that have been scheduled for 3 rounds, not the ones that have been scheduled for 5, have finished under 1.5 rounds 3 of 9 times. But for Johnny Walker, it's 7 of 9, right? So 10 of 18 or 55.5% of these guys combined 18 fights at the UFC level have finished under 1.5 rounds. So not only is this here underpriced according to the long-term divisional benchmark, but it's also underpriced according to the 55% under 1.5 rate of these guys at the UFC level. So that's underpriced by 12.08% when we compare that number to that number. Sorry, let me zoom in a little bit more here. And these guys are also finishing under 1.5 rounds at a higher rate than what the division does as a whole. So when I compare all 3 of these available metrics, all 3 of them are underpriced according to the probability of the line. So this is a line I like. And then also, I'm counting on the fact that Johnny Walker's not durable. You know, so even though Ankalaev starts slow, he doesn't throw a lot of volume. He's really waiting to counter. I think Ankalaev is, going to be in a little bit of trouble from Walker because Walker's dangerous. But I think that Walker might walk onto something here if he's not careful from Ankalaev, where he could get knocked out. So I got it at plus 160 earlier in the week. It's still available at plus 130. So I bet it for 1 unit. I got it at less than 40% implied probability. So it's even a better price than what the prop template shows here. So on the data and on my stylistic read, I like the under here, but I would not be surprised if it wound up going over. It's just that the over is overpriced according to the available metrics that we have here for this fight. Victor's saying, hey, Weezy, why should everyone sign up for your Patreon? Tell us. What do we get for the money? Okay, I'm very happy you asked, Victor. I appreciate you asking that. So you get the stats, right? So I mean, everybody's got a Patreon, and they'll give you their picks, and a lot of these guys have phenomenal picks for their fights. But with me, it's going to be something that you're going to do if you do your own research in fights. Because if you do your own research and you sign up for the Patreon, you're going to have the side-by-side stats. Not just and every stat that you could possibly imagine, the strength of schedule here for both fighters, the offensive and defensive grappling stats and control time stats for both fighters, the offensive and defensive significant striking stats, the offensive and defensive distance striking stats, and the offensive and defensive clinch and ground striking stats, all the tail of the tape information, all the pro and UFC experience information, all of the finish stats information, and all of the records to the submission, knockout, and decision. So if you're the type of person who does your own research, you're not only going to get my picks, you're going to get access to the Discord where we talk fights, where we share our track bets, where I share my track bets, where I give my official prize picks plays and underdog plays, which are based on the data that I've accumulated and curated. So it's a great place to talk with a bunch of like minds in the Discord. It's a great place to come upon the research and analytics that I've spent so much time accumulating and curating, and using it to your own advantage to cap fights. If you're a serious gambler and you're looking to make better decisions on your own, I've taken the time to create these spreadsheets that put all the information for you all in one place. And it's not, you're getting my picks too, but I don't think that that's what the value is. I think what the value is that nobody has access to this information, and I can get it to you if you join the Patreon. So that's why you should join the Patreon. That's the pitch, and I appreciate you for asking, Victor. It means a lot, man. Daz saying to Brady Stevens, who knows what the big ape Walker will do? Yeah, that's for sure. He's very unpredictable. Daz, my brother, same to you, says Victor. Brady saying, Daz, that's true. He is very unpredictable. Jorge saying, Weezy, what do you think about fantasy score on Prize Picks for Hamzat at 98.5 and 88.5 for Victoria Dudikova? All right. Let's bring the stats up here. Prize Picks analytics. And so we're going to call this a middleweight fight because this fight is taking place at middleweight, and it's going to be a 3-round fight. So Prize Picks fantasy score 3 rounds, 98.5 for Hamzat. So 59.5% of winners get that. 0.19% of losers get that. But also, you guys, if you join the Patreon, in the advanced stats, we have all of the available DFS scores for all these fighters. So if I go to Hamzat Chimaev here, for instance, and then I scroll over here to the right, DFS scoring fighter A on the sheet gives you DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, and Underdog offense, and then what is scored against them on defense. This is pretty fascinating for here, right? Hamzat Chimaev has had 5 fights where he's allowed less than 1 DraftKings point to his opponent. He allowed 0.6 to John Phillips. He allowed 0 to Reese McKee. He allowed 0 to Gerald Mearshart. He allowed 0 to Lee Jingeling. And then he allowed 0 in his last fight to Kevin Holland. That's how dominant Hamzat Chimaev has been. And if you look at the Prize Pick scores for Hamzat, 122, 123.8, 136, 114.4, 135, and 117. So he's scored not just 98.5 fantasy score per game, but the worst that he's ever put up in any in any Prize Picks performance in the UFC is 114.4 points. So why don't we, Jorge, add Hamzat Chimaev over 98.5 fantasy score here to make this 3-legger now pay 5-1 instead of 3-1. I love that one. And then 88.5 for Victoria Dudikova. So we're going to go to women's. Dudikova's fighting Jin Yu Fry, so that is going to be a strong weight fight. And if we go down here to Prize Picks fantasy score, 3-round fights, Dudikova's 88.5. So the winner scores that about 52.5% of the time. The loser scores it 0.39% of the time. We only have 1 fight for Victoria Dudikova. Let's look at Jin Yu Fry. And let's see how many times she's allowed more than that many points. So Jin Yu Fry has faced all of these ladies. So let's go here. Fighter B, Prize Picks. This is what she's allowed. 63.8, 118.6, 68.6, 57.6, 21.6, 77, and 85.6. So Jin Yu Fry has only allowed more than 85 or 88.5 DraftKings points once in 7 fights and in 5 losses. So, and the other thing about Prize Picks is you get points for stuffing takedowns, but you don't get points for reversals. You don't get points for control time. So somebody like Dudikova, who's going to be getting takedowns, but isn't going to be landing nearly as many significant strikes, I wouldn't be nearly as confident that she goes over 88.5 significant strikes here. So I like the Prize Picks over for Hamzat at 98.5, but the 88.5 I'm lukewarm on for Dudikova. I would probably stay away from that or even bet the under. Caddy Daddy in the room, definitely probably to just play decision is plus 210 on my book. Most of the finishing equity is in the first 7.5 minutes, so you might as well clench your cheeks for another 7. And yeah, and that's the way I kind of feel about it. I kind of feel like if this fight ends, it's going to end early. If it grinds on, that's when they're going to get a little more tired. The finishing equity is going to go slip away slowly for both guys. So, yeah, that's probably the way I'd play it. Caddy Daddy for Gafarov, Nurmagomedov, just go to decision. But if you don't mind paying up a little bit more, that over 1.5 is a little bit safer. But like I say, I kind of feel like the finishing equity is early. Do you like these earlier cards? Yeah, I do, man. For me, because I always do a show on Sunday with Brady on DFS by the numbers on Pub Sports Radio, Stat Digger is 6:15 Central Time every Sunday. The earlier that the fights end on Saturday, the more time I have to put those stats into my database, update the database, put out my prop template for my Patreon users, and then do research for the next week's fights. So it definitely does give me a little bit more time to get prepared for my Sunday show. So I kind of like the earlier cards. Brady's saying, okay, I'll stay away. Thanks, Weezy. Got you, man. We got MMA's biggest fan saying, oi, what's up, fellas? Let's hit a degenerate parlay of Shara, Aliskerov, Makhachev, Chimaev, Islam, Jubli, Basharat, and Dumas. Yeah, that probably does hit. It probably does hit. I think I'm picking all of them to win. You don't have... Oh, you've got Basharat in there. I'm picking Victor Hendry to win. And I think that Aliskerov isn't going to look nearly his price tag. But the rest of those guys, I am picking them all to win. Victor saying, hey, Weezy, they have a free square on Prize Picks for Curry to score more than 1 point. I don't follow basketball, but I do know who Curry is, and it sounds like it's an achievable points goal. So add it up. Thank you, dude. I did not know that. Let me go look at NBA. There we go, NBA. There it is. Stephen Curry on Tuesday, October 24th to score more than 1 point or more. Let's add it in there. I like the over there. I'm going to go with the over. And now we got a 10-1 play here. So let's do it. Let's do $20 to win 200. Let's put this entry in here. Let's go. $20 to win 200. A 4-legger. The Stephen Curry, more than 0.5 points. Hamzat Chimaev, more than 98.5 points of fantasy points. Ikram Aliskerov, over 5 minutes of fight time. And Muhammad Makhachev, more than 90.5 fantasy score. Let's go. All right. And hang on just a second, you guys. Sorry. All right. And we got DGen for life saying Dudakova looked like a novice. Her Contender Series fight just laid on the chick. Couldn't even pass her guard. I don't have the balls to bet on Fry, but the line off. Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out a lot more about her here. But, Jinh Fry is coming all the way from Texas to Abu Dhabi. It's not exactly, ideal circumstances for her either in this spot. So we'll see. But, yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Laying massive juice on women's MMA is never a long-term path to success. Victor saying, speaking of early fights, this card is trying to kill me. I usually go to bed around 8 a.m. Yeah, you're always working late, Vic. And yeah, that one, yeah, you might miss a few of these first fights, dude, so try to get to bed maybe just a little bit earlier if you get home from work. But man, you got to get your sleep. Sleep comes first, my man. Pick'em MMA saying, what's up, Uncle Weezy? Doing well, Pick'em. Things are going well here. I'm happy to get this 4-leg Prize Picks play in here for you guys. Let's make some money on that. A nice little 10-1 shot. All is well, dude. Thank you for hanging out. Jorge saying you got to add $5 on it. They allow 25 on the promos. Oh, I already put it in for 20, but I don't care. That's good enough, man, for now. $200. Let's get it, dude. 20 to win 200. Let's go. MMA's biggest fan 23 saying, would you say that if Victor Henry wins, it's by decision? Yes, I would. I mean, he could potentially get a finish. He's got some finishes on his record. But I mean, Javid is a very defensively sound fighter. He's got great fight IQ. And both Victor Henry and Javid Basharat are very durable. So yeah, I think that if Henry does win, it is by decision. Listen, I appreciate all you guys hanging out here tonight on another fantastic episode of Ask Weezy. We went 90 minutes, 41 of you still hanging out in here live. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Please consider joining the Patreon, where you get access to all these fabulous stats that'll help you make better gambling decisions and be a more profitable gambler in the long run when you do your own research. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. I will be back on Friday right here on my channel for the Greasy 4-Leg Parlay after weigh-ins. And I will also be on the Couch Warriors panel tomorrow night with 138 MMA, I think, the Couch Warrior, and I believe Lucrative MMA will also be there. So it's going to be a really fantastic panel. We're going to break down all the fights on this card, figure out even more ways to stack cash tickets like flapjacks. We got Daz Files saying, thanks, Weezy. In chat, we got Victor saying, thanks for your time, Weezy. Have a good night, everybody. Rouse is saying, thanks, Unc. I thank all of you guys. And let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 294. And hit that thumbs up and subscribe on your way out. And please leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite bet of the week is so that we can share our best spots and all make money on this fantastic UFC 294 card. Fight Talk only saying thanks, Tio Weezy. Have a good night. You do the same, brother. All of you guys have a great night. See you tomorrow on the Couch Warriors stream. And I will see you on Friday right back here on this channel for the Greasy 4-Leg Parlay. Keel Grease saying thanks for the stream. Thank you for hanging out. And we will see you guys tomorrow and Friday. And then enjoy the fights on Saturday. Good night.